Hi, my name is Senhui. I'm a cybersecurity consultant with CloudSign. In today's video, there are three things I would like to share with you. First is how you can perform DNS enumeration. Second, how you can secure your DNS records. And lastly, with our WebOrion solution tools, you can monitor for changes in DNS records. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, you may be wondering what exactly is DNS. DNS basically is like a phone book of the internet. For us humans, when we access information online, we access it through domain names. So for example, yahoo.com, google.com, or twitter.com. But our web browser interacts through IP addresses. So what DNS does is that it actually translates this domain name to IP addresses so that the web browser can load the internet resources. So each device connected to the internet has a unique IP address. Let's take a look at the domain names that we are going to enumerate today. So for example, I have this domain name. So at the front, what I can do is to do a host and click enter. So as you can see here, this subdomain is actually an alias for this domain name. And it has an IP address of this. And using this command, you can also find out what are the mail exchange records, as you can see here. So these records contains the names of the servers responsible for handling email for the domain. What you can do next is also to find out the text information. So for example, host.txt demo.view. So as you can see here, this is the text information. So this text record actually contains any arbitrary data that can be used for various purposes. Usually, they are being used for domain verification. The other commands you can use is called dig. So as you can see here, this is our subdomain. It's actually CNAME to this domain. So basically, CNAME is an alias of another domain, and all CNAME must point to a domain, never to an IP address. So now this domain is actually pointing to this, and eventually it will be resolved to this IP address. So what else can you do with DNS enumeration? Let's explore further what other commands that we have. So next we have also who is demo.view. So for this particular command, you can find out the name server of this particular domain. So usually this who is command will actually find out who actually owns this domain. At the same time, there are other details that will be displayed using this particular command. So as you can see, this who is command have to be used on the domain name itself instead of the subdomain. So you click enter. So if you go to the top here, you can see that the registrar, where this DNS name is being registered, is under this website. So if the attacker wants to compromise the DNS record, they might go to this website and see how they can do it. So as you can see at the bottom, these are the name servers. So name server is a server that stores all DNS records for a domain, including the A records, which is the IP address that you see just now, the MS records, which is the mail records, or the CNAME records. So almost all domains rely on multiple name servers to increase reliability. So previously we mentioned that using this particular command, you can find out the IP address of this particular domain. But it's quite dangerous if your origin web server IP address is being reviewed, because the attacker can do a DDoS attack on this particular IP and attempt to bring down your website. So what people usually do to better secure it is using a CDN and then sit in front of the web server, so that when the attacker try to do a DNS enumeration, what they can find is only information on the CDN rather than the origin web server. If they want to attack the web server, they can only attack through CDN. So basically, CDN refers to a distributed group of network that is located around the world, and it works together to provide fast delivery of internet content. So it allows for quick transfer of assets such as HTML, pages, JavaScript files, stylesheet, images, and videos. And it can be configured to protect website against some common malicious attacks such as a DDoS attack. So for the next part of my demonstration, I will show you how you can set up a CDN and put it in front of a web server. So let's get into it. So as you can see here, this is the WebOrion Business SaaS solution where we can set up our CDN and WAF. So our solution is pretty special. If you purchase this product, you will get 2-in-1, the CDN and the WAF. So let's see how we can configure it. So as you can see here, there's a configuration wizard. So we click on it. So what you want to do now is to set up the WAF for the website. So you click on Start Now. So as you can see here, it has generated a CNAME for you. So this is the CNAME value. So now you take this CNAME value, you copy it, then you go to your registrar website, the place where you actually purchase the domain name and where you can also configure the DNS records. So as you can see, this is my DNS records, and if I go down to the bottom, you can see that now my this subdomain is actually CNAME to this domain name. So what I want to do now is actually change this record, and I want my subdomain to actually point to this CNAME value, which will point to our CDN and WAF. So TTL stands for time to live, meaning how long it takes for them to update your DNS records. Okay. So just wait for about 5 minutes and to update, and we will come back again. So once the DNS record is updated, let's check again. So as you can see now, this subdomain here is actually pointing to this CDN CNAME. Okay, so because CDN is distributed around the world, so they have a few IP addresses that you can see here, and this is for high availability. So as you can see here, this is very different from what we have discovered earlier. In the original DNS enumeration, we are able to discover the origin web server. But in this case, the origin web server IP address is being masked. So what you see here is actually the CDN IP address. And it can help to mitigate attackers from attacking the web server directly. So for the last part of the section, what I'll be sharing with you is how our WebOrion solution can also monitor for DNS record change. If the attacker managed to get into your DNS record, if they change the IP address, then it will cause an issue to the user. And if the attacker managed to find out where you host the DNS records, and they manage to get into it and change the IP address, or I would say the A records, they can basically point the website visitor to another website. So it could be a malicious website or a phishing website. So as you can see now, this is our WebOrion portal. And over here, we have a few engines that does monitoring of the website. But in particular, the one that I want to show you today is this SSL, who is DNS monitoring. Basically, what it does is that it checks for 3 things. First is for your SSL certificates, the information that you have inside, the DNS records, and the whois record. So once all these are being turned on, it will actually extract all this data online and then form a baseline. So if there are any changes in the future, it will actually trigger alerts. So in this particular demo, I will just show you this DNS records that's turned on. So you can key in your domain, then you click save. Now you will go and check the DNS records. So once successful, and you will see that it's over here. So now the DNS status is okay. So if there are any changes to the DNS record, it will trigger an alert and then send an email to the user. So that's it for my short tutorial. I hope this session has been helpful to you on how you can do a DNS enumeration, how you can secure your DNS records, hide your origin web server IP address. At the same time, you can also use our solution to actually monitor for any changes to the DNS records. If you want to find out more about our products, feel free to contact us at sales@cloudsign.tech. And I will see you in the next video.